And a good afternoon to you wherever you may be. Welcome to the 2023 Formula One Hungarian Grand Prix. It is 81 degrees Fahrenheit, clear and dry, a perfect day for a race on this 14-turn track in Budapest, Hungary, the second to final race before the 2023 Formula One summer break. Next week we'll bring you the Dutch Grand Prix, which will be the finale of the first part of the season. Let's go to the starting grid. Lance Stroll starts in pole with Sergio Perez from Red Bull in second. Lance Stroll representing Aston Martin. Carlos Sainz in third with Hamilton in fourth. Leclerc and Verstappen in fifth and sixth. Russell with Fernando Alonso. Pierre Gasly with Kevin Magnussen. Nico Hülkenberg with Alexander Albon. Esteban Ocon with Logan Sargeant, the winner of the British Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri with Yuki Tsunoda. Nick de Vries with Valtteri Bottas. Zhou Guanyu with Lando Norris. And moments away from the start of this Grand Prix. Final preparations being made. We thank you for joining us, and we'll bring you the start of the race in just a matter of moments. And it's lights out and away we go. The 2023 Hungarian Grand Prix. Lance Stroll into first, Lewis Hamilton into second, Max Verstappen moving quickly up. He's in third, and now in second, and he passes Hamilton. He is in first, just like that. What a start to lap one from one of the most dominant drivers we've seen this season. The most dominant, in fact. He's now breaking out to a huge lead. He's sort of butchered that turn as he goes off onto the grass. Lewis Hamilton in second, Lance Stroll in third, Carlos Sainz in fourth, Charles Leclerc in fifth. But what a start to this race for Max Verstappen, and we're now sort of settling into a groove as the Hungarian Grand Prix gets underway. The second to final race before the summer break here in the 2023 Formula One World Championship season. I believe Verstappen may have cut a corner there. Either way, we welcome you to the broadcast, we welcome you to the race, and unfortunately, Matilda Wallace will not be joining us here, but I'm here. I don't think I'm as good as her, but it is what it is. There you see Lewis Hamilton, one of the most dominant drivers of this era, in second place. He's got Lance Stroll, the Canadian Aston Martin driver, behind him. And Carlos Sainz with Charles Leclerc, the two Ferrari teammates, in fourth and fifth, respectively. Sergio Perez in sixth. His teammate, of course, Verstappen in first as they come across the start-finish line for lap number 2. George Russell, Hamilton's Mercedes teammate, in seventh. An interesting gap there as well. Pierre Gasly in eighth. Alexander Albon in ninth. And just as of now, Fernando Alonso in 10th, where Kevin Magnussen was previously. And speaking of Williams, with Alex Albon in 9th, it's Logan Sargeant in 13th. He made quite a debut at the British Grand Prix, winning his first ever race, at least that we have shown on this network, of course, with the releasing schedule. And I'm going to break the fourth wall here. With the schedule as to which the F1 games are released, it gets a bit inaccurate, should I say. But the new drivers have joined us now as the 2023 season continues. Again, this is we're coming to the end of the first half, if you will, coming to the summer break. There's Lewis Hamilton flying across the track. Max Verstappen is nowhere to be found. He has taken a huge lead, but Hamilton, steady as he goes. Lance Stroll in third, Carlos Sainz in fourth, Charles Leclerc in fifth. And quite the turnout here, as you can see in the grandstands for this Hungarian Grand Prix. There you see the back of Lance Stroll's car, Carlos Sainz behind him, and I apologize if my microphone sounds a bit loud, sounds a bit bad, but that sort of thing is necessary in events such as this. I got it really close to my mouth, and it's not very good of a headset, so again, I apologize. I still haven't found a way to fix the weird effect. Somewhat sounds like a crackly telephone a bit, but it's it can be tolerated, I hope. As Hamilton continues in second here, I should say Sir Lewis Hamilton. He's had an amazing career, but he's sort of fallen off, if you will, in the past couple of years. Max Verstappen, however, has been the star of the show this season. Unbelievable performances that we've seen, well, in real life at least, in our simulations, and I'll break the fourth wall again. The podium has been a bit more diverse, but real life... Oh! Wait a minute! And I believe Hamilton's car has just stopped working. Some sort of engine failure or something. We're not entirely sure what it is. But I believe that Lewis Hamilton is out of the race. At the very least, he's down in 20th now. But yeah, I think he's gone. Hamilton just off to the side all of a sudden. That's got to be heartbreaking. And I was just saying, the past couple of years haven't been that good for him. Perhaps the sunset of his career haven't gone that well. But Lewis Hamilton, I've just been informed, is officially out of the session, out of the Hungarian Grand Prix. And we go from 20 drivers to 19 in lap 4 of 18. So it'll be Lance Stroll taking the second place position from Hamilton. And of course the two Ferraris together. Carlos Sainz moves up into third behind the winner of the Monaco Grand Prix this year, Charles Leclerc. Sergio Perez in fifth, Verstappen, his teammate, in first, as you know. And George Russell in sixth, of course, the only remaining representative of Mercedes, as we take a look inside here, the first-person view of Charles Leclerc. And again, I apologize if I get a bit loud, but it is a bit of a necessity, especially in segments like these where we go in a first-person view and you can really hear the engine there. I'm not entirely sure what that voice was, maybe some sort of PA announcer here at the track. But Sainz in front, Leclerc following behind. But Max Verstappen, I saw him there for a moment, he's just got a huge lead. What was I saying before? George Russell, of course, the only remaining Mercedes representative. If you're just joining us again, Lewis Hamilton, his engine appears to have failed. He's out of the session. He's out of the Hungarian Grand Prix. He will, that'll be a DNF. Did not finish here this afternoon. 20th place on the leaderboard, as you can see, but that is where he will remain. So George Russell, again, the only remaining Mercedes representative in this race. Fernando Alonso in 7th, Pierre Gasly in 8th, Alexander Albon in 9th, and he stayed there. He was there the last time I went down the leaderboard, but I'm sort of paying more attention to the race than I am to the leaderboard. And Kevin Magnussen in 10th, and that's it for the points. We've got Oscar Piastri in 11th, one of the, I think it was 4 new drivers that debuted earlier this month in the British Grand Prix. Of course, we've got the Dutch Grand Prix coming up next weekend, or next Friday, I should say, here on the network, and that will be all for this, the first part of the 2023 F1 season. A summer break, and then, as a tradition, and then we'll return at the end of August for the Belgian Grand Prix, as Leclerc and Sainz are sort of getting into a battle for third here. There's the first-person view again. They were side by side moments ago on the straightaway by the finish line, but now they've sort of, like the rest of the drivers, gotten more into a single file line. There you see Verstappen still making his way through the course. We haven't had much coverage of him in this race, despite the fact that he is the leader, but the reason for that is he's got such a huge lead that nobody is going to catch him, at least not right now. Oh, wait a minute, he's sort of swerving a bit, and just as I say that, Lance Stroll tries to make his move. Verstappen able to defend his position and leaving Lance Stroll quite literally in the dust there. You saw a bit of a cloud going up as he pulled through there. Lance Stroll in second, McLaren Sainz following him, the two Ferraris. Sergio Perez in fifth, George Russell in sixth, Alonso in seventh, Gasly in eighth, Albon in ninth, Magnussen in 10th. The state of the points, I think, pretty much the same as it was the last time I walked you through the leaderboard. And Verstappen flies across the start-finish line again as we come into lap 7 of 18 here. Wait a minute, Stroll's fallen down in the third. Now Charles Leclerc is in second, and Carlos Sainz also going a bit side to side, trying to make his move, trying to pull into, trying to get closer to his teammate Leclerc, but of course to do that now he'd have to go past Lance Stroll. Verstappen continuing to fly through the course, but it does kind of look like, or did kind of look like Leclerc was making a bit of a move, getting a bit closer, but again, you know, most of the perception is camera angles. Stroll again in third. You see the first person view, and I apologize if you can't hear me very well. I don't want to make the audio of my voice worse than it already is, but I'm sort of forced to shout here a little bit. But I just hope you can hear me as that first person view ends, the view from the cockpit. And Stroll has Sainz on his tail. Charles Leclerc is sort of broken away. He's chasing Verstappen. He's left third and fourth place in the dust. Although they seem to be catching up to him, I should say. There's Carlos Sainz. We'll go to his view as they come across into lap number 8 of 18 this afternoon. So glad to have you with us. It's getting a bit interesting out there. For a second I thought they were going into the pits, but I don't think that's it. Maybe a couple of them did. But I think the time for a pit stop may be near anyways. Carlos Sainz continuing to move through the track. You see there our focus kind of on him for a moment. You take a look at the leaderboard, the driver that we're currently following will be highlighted in white. So our eyes are kind of on Carlos Sainz right now as we go once again into the first person view. And like I said earlier, we haven't had that much coverage of Verstappen, but that is mostly because he's jumped out to quite the lead, and if someone does catch him, or try to catch him, we will hope to get there in time. Stroll, meanwhile, hot on the tail of Leclerc. Leclerc trying to chase up to Verstappen, but trying to catch up to Verstappen, I should say. But you can see that they've got quite a gap. They will move through into lap 9 of 18, putting an end, well, at the end of it, we'll go into the second half of this race. George Russell, you see there, he's moved up into fourth all of a sudden. Leclerc and Sainz separated by Stroll and Russell, and those two Ferraris have sort of been together for most of this race. And you saw Verstappen there again for just a flash, just a second. As there you see George Russell, the winner of the Miami Grand Prix earlier in May, the beginning of May, which was actually the first race we covered on this network in our new F1 series, or it was new then, it's coming up on 3 months old now. And we hope to bring you the rest of the season. Hope to come back from the summer break, but again, things can be kind of unpredictable here. You never know if we will continue the coverage or if we'll move on to something else, but hopefully, or it seems as though we'll be going with F1. Of course, the NFL will start up a couple weeks after the Belgian Grand Prix, and now perhaps the pit stops being made. Looks like it. George Russell goes into the pits. There's Fernando Alonso. He stays out. So does Sergio Perez. Leclerc into second. Verstappen. And now we're back on Verstappen for the first time in ages, you might say. And he's got quite the lead. We go back to Charles Leclerc. Again, the winner of the Monaco Grand Prix, which was quite a feat for him because he is from Monaco. And he very well may be the most famous person in the world from Monaco. Maybe the prince has him tied, but I don't think so. One may argue that Leclerc he is the de facto prince due to his fame. But please forgive my rambling. Leclerc again in second. Where's his teammate? Carlos Sainz all the way down in 11th. Now Perez and Alonso. Bit of a battle here. Alonso falls behind. Perez trying to break away. They're both behind Leclerc, and now Alexander Albon. He's in 5th, which, you know, you'd think that would be surprising, but then again, remember the pit stops. And now it's going to be Verstappen making his pit stop, and I'm still not sure what that voice is, but I'm just assuming it's some sort of PA announcer, as they'll come into lap 11 of 18. The majority of the race being completed, and look at the leaderboard just going up and down and up and down. And always, not always, but always. But still, Max Verstappen able to retain P1 coming out of the pits, which is something quite unusual. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc, who was formerly in second, has now moved down to 6th. His teammate Carlos Sainz has taken his spot. He's in 2nd. George Russell in 3rd. Pierre Gasly in 4th. Lance Stroll in 5th. Charles Leclerc in 6th. Kevin Magnussen in 7th. Fernando Alonso in 8th. Oscar Piastri in 9th. Alexander Albon, who was farther up the leaderboard earlier, is in 10th, and his teammate Logan Sargeant in 14th. And there's two reasons I bring that up. One is because he won at Silverstone the last race, and two, because I myself am American. Anyways, Sainz continuing here. What an amazing performance anyways by Logan Sargeant. And you don't see too many Americans in Formula 1, and I apologize if I sound a bit biased here, but just incredible what we saw there, and not as much of a performance being put on as there was in Britain a couple weeks ago, just days after the 4th of July too, an American winning the race. But just an amazing start to his F1 career, to duel with Hamilton on home soil. And of course Hamilton's gone today as of now, but just such an amazing performance by Logan Sargeant that we saw, and perhaps he will go far in Formula 1. There's George Russell, you see, behind Carlos Sainz. Max Verstappen Still in first, as he has been for the majority of the race. And the spotlight on Pierre Gasly for a moment. Lance Stroll, the Canadian, in 5th. Charles Leclerc, we see him again in 6th. Oh! I'm not entirely sure what's happened with Lance Stroll, but the yellow flag is out. We've got quite a traffic jam here, coming close to the start-finish line. And I think they're getting all rearranged now, getting back to normal, as lap 13 of 18 begins here in Hungary. We thank you for joining us for the Hungarian Grand Prix as we continue our coverage of Formula One. There's Oscar Piastri, Kevin Magnussen, and that crash has sort of shaken things up here. Charles Leclerc is in 11th. Lance Stroll is in 12th. Of course, he's the one who caused the crash with whatever that was. Pierre Gasly, we see the cockpit view here, but he was in 4th, I believe, before the crash happened. And that's very, very unusual for his team to be in a position like that, especially considering that his teammate, Esteban Ocon, is in 14th. Is it the pits? Is it the engine? Who knows? Is it the driver himself? Probably not. But, I don't know. Stranger things have happened. Oh! Russell tried to pass Sainz, and he will. Right as they come across the start-finish line. Now it's getting a bit interesting. It's Sainz and Russell battling for P2. And there you saw Verstappen go by. Nobody is catching Max Verstappen here today. We could call the race off here, but it's only lap 14 of 18. There's, 4 laps to go after this. But it looks like a pretty clear-cut path here for Verstappen. A clear-cut victory. However, based on what we just saw, the rest of the podium may still be up for grabs. Carlos Sainz in 2nd. George Russell following him in 3rd. After that epic battle, perhaps I'm over-exaggerating a little bit, but the thing with this is it can be quite unpredictable. You never know exactly when the action is going to happen, but when the action does happen, it's quite the memorable moment that you don't easily forget. So, as you can see, I'm still talking about it as they come around this hairpin turn into, well, almost into lap 15, driving by the pits. And it'll be Verstappen in 1st, and once again they've gotten close. Once again it's Russell and Sainz, and Russell's taken 2nd. At least for now. Sainz could make his move, but I think Russell is going to cut him off here. Yes, he has. Or at least it appears that he has, and once again they're back in single file. Pierre Gasly in 4th. Following Russell and Sainz. It'd be quite an accomplishment for Gasly to get on the podium here this afternoon, but Russell and Sainz, 2 very, very good drivers on 2 very, very good teams, 2 dominant teams, Mercedes and Ferrari, iconic manufacturers going at it there. But of course, not a very good day for the other Mercedes driver we saw early in this race, Lewis Hamilton. Engine failure marking the end of his afternoon. And then Carlos Sainz again in 3rd. His teammate Charles Leclerc in 10th. Perhaps the pit stop had a permanent effect on this race. There's the first-person view of George Russell. I saw Verstappen for a moment. There he is again. Chasing the leader. But it is all Verstappen in this race as they come across the start-finish line once again. And in that straightaway coming into turn 1, we've seen Sainz and Russell going at it in the past couple of laps. They don't do it here in lap 16 of 18. 2 laps to go coming to the end of this race, and Verstappen coming out of the grass there. I take it that perhaps his performance today, well, his performance today was great, but his handling of it may be a bit less than ideal, but a win is a win. Sainz, there you see him in third. Pierre Gasly in fourth, Kevin Magnussen in fifth. Piastri in sixth. A diverse assortment of drivers in the points here. And I'm not entirely sure you could hear me there, but what I said was a diverse assortment of drivers in the points. Sainz still following Russell. They're coming up to the start-finish line again. You have to wonder, are they going to go at it one more time? Doesn't look like they'll be able to, though, because Russell's got a considerable amount of distance, a considerable gap here from Sainz. Gasly, however, could potentially make a move, but he has lost his opportunity to. Meanwhile, Sainz getting closer to Russell, and we could see those two going at it again, perhaps. Russell, there you see from an interesting angle. I think Sainz had P2 for just a split second there. I don't know, something with the leaderboard. I didn't quite see it. Maybe it was Gasly taking P3. Whatever it is, there's something on the track now, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to assume that's chunks of Max Verstappen's car. Like I said, handling less than ideal, but a win is a win. As we turn the focus onto Max Verstappen for this final lap, and we haven't really been talking about him that much in this race. In our coverage, we haven't really been covering him that much, but the reason for that is because he is absolutely dominated. And I'll remain silent here because I want you to be able to hear me. Verstappen across the start-finish line into lap 18 we go. He's got a huge lead. What a performance. I said that the reason we haven't covered him that much is because of this amazing performance. And just the dominance of this driver is unparalleled. A well-deserved win here today in the Hungarian Grand Prix. The legend of Max Verstappen continues, and there's not really much more to say, although he's gone a bit... Oh, wait a minute! Wait a minute! Into the wall! Into the wall! Max Verstappen, once in first, seconds later, in seventh. Unbelievable. It just goes to show you, anything can happen on the Beagle Sports Network, and I guess that it's gonna be a podium performance for Pierre Gasly after all. Perez is with Verstappen, but George Russell, in these final few turns, he's just got to bring it home. What an ending. What an absolutely unexpected, absolutely amazing ending to the Hungarian Grand Prix. It'll be George Russell winning the race, Sainz taking second, Gasly taking third. Unbelievable. Well, for George Russell, what a stroke of luck. Max Verstappen wipes out in the final lap, and it is a win for Mercedes despite Lewis Hamilton's unfortunate engine failure in lap number 3. What a day for George Russell. And now we will bring you the podium celebration. Thank you for watching. We'll have the Dutch Grand Prix next weekend, next Friday, the final race before the summer break. And in just over 12 hours, we'll bring you episode 2 of Universe Mode, Friday Night SmackDown. From Budapest, Hungary, goodbye and good night.